What's happening, guys? It's Jeremy Blanton with Remax Southern Shores, and today I want to talk about a topic that I discuss with people regularly that reach out to me, and that is retiring and moving to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. You know, over the last several years, Myrtle Beach has come up as some of the top destination places for people to move, and especially when you look at retirement lists and those types of things, it is always towards the top of the list as destinations people would consider making a move to. And so I figured today we would take some time and discuss 5 reasons why I think you should consider moving to Myrtle Beach if you're retiring anytime soon. And the first thing on that list that I wanted to discuss is the weather. Here in Myrtle Beach, we still have all 4 seasons of the year weather-wise. We have an amazing springtime where it's beautiful and everything's growing. A nice hot warm summer that lasts for an extended period. We're talking from like March all the way through to almost October and sometimes even into November, where you have just this great, beautiful weather, temperatures in the 70 to 80s most of that time through the year. So it's great warm weather. We then have our fall where things get a little bit cooler. The fall leaves come, the leaves fall off the tree. Actually, it's more the pine straw that falls. And then we do have that winter. But as a whole, winter is usually fairly mild here. Now, this year things have been a little bit crazier with weather. It's actually been pretty cold the last few days. We actually did get down below freezing the one night, which I just blows my mind that happened in November. But normally we don't see that type of weather. Instead, what we're gonna see is those few days where it gets cooler, temperatures might get down, but during the day it's gonna get up in the 60s. You know, the other night I was watching a football game and it was Kansas State versus Iowa State, I believe, and they had like 6 inches of snow on the ground. Check out this clip. Yeah, I would not want to live in an area that has that much snow falling anymore, especially before Thanksgiving. And that's when that game was taking place. It was crazy. It was right on the weekend of Thanksgiving. No, thank you. You know, the other night I was talking to some good friends of mine who live up in Michigan, and we were FaceTiming, and they opened and showed us their back porch. They have 4 inches of snow that came. Oh, it's just a light dusting, Jeremy. Oh, it's only down in the 20s. No thanks. I don't live for that weather anymore. I don't want anything to do with it. You know, I originally grew up in Reading, Pennsylvania, and you know, I remember this time of year where we would get stuck inside and be stuck just staying inside because the weather was too cold. We couldn't go outside. There's snow and ice on the ground. People are slipping and falling all over the place, and there's just not much to do. Well, here in Myrtle Beach, yes, we still might see those cold days where temperatures drop down maybe to freezing or a little bit below for a couple hours. But then when the day starts, those temperatures are going to warm back up, get back into the 50s, the 60s, maybe even the 70s, and it's going to be a nice, comfortable day to be outside. So the weather is obviously #1 reason why you should think about retiring to Myrtle Beach. The second reason why I think you should consider Myrtle Beach as a place to retire to is our lower cost of living. You know, I've done videos in the past on cost of living here in the area. In fact, I'll link to one right here that you can check it out and kind of learn a little bit more about cost of living in our area. But overall, living in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina versus other parts of the country is much more affordable. First off, let's talk about the homes. Home values in our area are going to be probably right now averaging around $300,000 to $325,000 versus other parts of the country where those homes are going to be $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, $800,000. You know, I've shared in the past about clients of mine that moved here from the West Coast, and you know, they sold their house out there that was built in the 1950s. It was 1,400 square feet or something crazy like that for $925,000. They moved here, bought a brand new home that was full custom built in a custom neighborhood for $875,000. They went from 1,400 square feet with running their business in it to now having over 4,000 square feet. So in our area, you can find great homes. I also just helped some clients that you may say, listen, $800,000 is not where I want to be. Well, my last 2 closings, let's discuss those a second. One of them was an awesome couple that moved here from Minnesota. They sold their home out there for $330,000. Came here, we bought them a brand new home, about 1,600 to 1,700 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, all on 1 floor, brand new, with 2-car garage, nice sized yard, and they were able to get that for $288,000. My other couple that recently moved here came from New York. They wanted to be close to the action. They wanted to have great amenities and all that kind of stuff too. So we found them an awesome home over at the Parks in Carolina Forest. I've done videos on that. I'll link to it here so you can check out that neighborhood. But I went in there and negotiated for a brand new home was able to get them the house for under $450,000. It's a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath house with over 2,000 square feet, a 2-car garage on a pond for $445,000. It was an awesome deal that they were able to get. So finding great properties here in the area is definitely a possibility, and they're usually going to cost a lot less than other parts of the country. Now, along with the house part, what's the other big component of expenses on that house? The property taxes. That home, if they had for $445,000 up in New York, they're probably spending $10, $12, $14,000 a year in property taxes. Because they live here in South Carolina, they're going to get those taxes for down around $2,000 a year. And in addition, because they're over the age of 65, once they have lived in the home for a full calendar year, they will be able to get an additional homestead exemption, which takes an additional $50,000 off the assessed value of the home, saving them a couple more $100 a year in property taxes. So those two parts alone of the living and home expenses here in our area are definitely much more affordable than other parts of the country. Now, you might be saying, well, Jeremy, that's great if that's all better, but if everything else costs more, am I really saving? So I looked once again yesterday, checked it out. Gas right now in our area is $2.86 or 87 cents, I believe, a gallon. In other parts of the country, up in Pennsylvania, it was well over $3.50. In parts of California, it was as high as $6 for some of it. Ridiculous costs that you're spending on fuel. We're one of the lowest costs for fuel in the country. So that's going to save you a bunch of money right there. You know, when we always talk about food items, they always go to, what about a gallon of milk? Well, let me read you the details of what this is right now. All right, so right now here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, I checked with our local Sam's Club. It was $3.98 for a gallon of milk. According to the USDA report, which gives the average costs for different cities across the country, places like Chicago was $5.26 a gallon, and in Kansas City it was well over $6. So as you can see, price of food and groceries in our area are usually in line with other parts of the country, or even a little bit less. So that, my friends, is the second reason why people are considering moving to Myrtle Beach. It's a great, affordable place to live with awesome weather and low cost of living. All right, so the third thing on our list of what I want to talk about is great reasons why you should consider moving to Myrtle Beach is just simply the things to do. You know, when I talk to people all the time, they're usually comparing Myrtle Beach, South Carolina to Florida because that's the other big destination place it seems to be where people are moving a lot of times. And so they want to have the same thing they looked at when they were down in Florida. They want to have a neighborhood that's a 55 and older community because they want to be around everybody who's the same age as them, and they want somebody who's going to be there as the activities coordinator that basically plans activities and things to do for the neighborhood. Well, here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, we really don't have that. Instead, we have so many other things to do. First, before we get into the neighborhood and all that, let's just talk about just basic things. We're the golf capital of the world. We have more golf courses than anywhere else that you can find. So you can go out and enjoy playing golf. Maybe golfing's not your thing. Well, we have things like, well, the intercoastal waterway where you can get on a boat, go out and go fishing, enjoy just cruising up and down the waterway or through some of the rivers that we have in our area. There's other things you can do like going shopping. We have outlets that are here, malls. We have big malls, regular malls. We have places like Broadway at the beach. We have Barefoot Landing. So many things that you can do on a regular basis. So there's a ton of things, let alone that you can do without even talking about your neighborhood. But let's talk about neighborhoods a minute. So people say, I want to be in a community where they have that activities coordinator planning out events. My neighborhood I live in, we're not a 55 and older community. But let me just read you some of the different activities that are taking place in our community during the months of November and December. Okay, so over the last month, my community has all types of events. Some of these events where they did a ceremony to honor veterans on Veterans Day. They have had bingo night. They have written cards to the people that are in the armed forces and mailed them out. So they had a gathering, everybody got together at the clubhouse and they sat and just wrote handwritten notes to all of the people in our active military. We have had chili cookouts. We've had meeting and greeting with Santa coming up. We have a Christmas decoration contest taking place in the neighborhood. We had a fall festival where they had all types of vendors and stuff come in, they had food trucks come to the neighborhood, and all types of stuff that took place right in our neighborhood. There's also then there's also then monthly card games where they get together on a certain night and play poker or euchre or all these different games that you can think of right there at the clubhouse. Some other things that are coming up is they're doing letters to Santa. So they set up a mailbox in the neighborhood where people can come, that if children drop the letters in, and some people in the neighborhood will then get together, write notes back, and deliver them to the kids. So even though I'm not in a 55 and older community and I don't have an activities coordinator, as you can see, there are tons of things to go on in our neighborhood each and every day. So when you add together the things that are taking place in our neighborhood plus all of the stuff that Myrtle Beach has to offer, you will never be at a lack of things to do in our area. The fourth thing on our list that I want to talk about, and well, it's part of our name, is obviously the beach. Myrtle Beach has over 65 miles of pristine sandy beaches that you can go and enjoy year-round here at the beach. During the Thanksgiving holiday, my family on my wife's side all came to town. The in-laws, or some people call them the outlaws, but they were all here in town. And we took several trips down to the beach to just walk, stroll, enjoy the sand. We were searching for shark's teeth, picking up shells, and just strolling along, enjoying the ocean air. Yes, the temperatures at times were a little bit cooler, but if you put a jacket on, it was perfect even in the middle of fall. So we have one of the best attractions, the beach, right here where you can go and enjoy it year-round. This is one of the biggest things that pull people to our area, and definitely one of the best reasons why you should consider moving to Myrtle Beach to retire. And the fifth thing that I wanted to discuss today is reasons why you should consider moving and retiring to Myrtle Beach is just our simple, laid-back lifestyle. As I mentioned before in many videos, I'm originally from Reading, Pennsylvania. It's about an hour outside of Philadelphia, where there's a lot of hustle and bustle and go, go, go. When we moved down here, my father was retiring as a school superintendent in Pennsylvania. He was used to things moving at breakneck speeds, things moving fast and everything being done. And when we moved here for having a little bit more of a relaxed, laid-back lifestyle, because after his accident, they told him that would be better for his health. So we moved down here with that intention. But it took us some time. My dad, it took him a longer time than the rest of my family to be able to adjust to, hey, you know what? Things are going to be done in a little bit more laid-back lifestyle. When you walk down the street here in Myrtle Beach and you're going through these neighborhoods, the people that are walking through the street, they're going to stop, they're going to wave at you, they're going to smile, they're going to tell you, say hello when you go in and out of a door at a restaurant. People are going to hold the doors for you going in and out of shops. It's just going to be a very pleasant all-around experience. You're not going to have the hustle and bustle. You're not going to have the stress and the high action moving everything going around. Myrtle Beach is a place where you can move to relax and enjoy living here at the beach. So if you've been thinking about making that move down to the Myrtle Beach area and retiring, like I mentioned before, my contact information is all down below. Feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to help you make that move. And as always, if you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor, give it a thumbs up, get that bell on, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.